Come on, baby. Show me my chat. Show me my live chat. Let's go. All right, I gotta spam my Discord. Copy the spam link. Spam link copied. Go to Discord. All right. There we go. All right, I think I got that done. Whee! Spam away. All right. Oh, Tashio, what's up, dude? We got a sheet going on. All right, let me see if I can find this sucker. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. I should have. GM Lair Q&A 2025. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Tashio. Oh, poopity oopity. I was supposed to do something. Where is this? How do I edit a stream that is in progress? Add stream marker. Nope. Create a highlight video. Nope. Insert an ad. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Nobody wants to watch ads during a live stream. It's the stupidest idea in the world. How do I edit a live stream that's in progress? What if I do that? Does that help? I don't think that helps. Edit title and description. Yeah, that's what I wanted. All right, got it. I got it. All right, now I can go back into this. All right, now what I have to do is I need to go into I forgot to do something before the stream started. So just in case you're all lost. No, nobody cares. It's like, Luke, you're a moron. Just shut up, dude. Get your work done. You should know better. All right. So the Tashio or moderators, the Kickstarter command is going to now send a plug for the Kickstarter I'm telling people about today. I found a cool Kickstarter that I want to tell people about. So I forgot to put in. Oh, that was a timer. I updated the timer for it. Oh, I gotta do the command now. All right, where is the command? Kickstarter. Actually, yeah, no, I'll Kickstarter will be fine. We'll do it. We'll do Kickstarter. Update. There we go. All right, that should work. Kickstarter should now work. Brittany says, what are we going to get Luke to rant about this time? I don't know, Brittany. You guys all need to put your thinking caps on and figure something cool out, because rants are the funnest parts of these streams. I'm like answering questions. I'm like, questions. And then somebody provokes me to rant. And those are the fun parts. Are you kidding me? A Gamehole Con rant? I didn't even go to Gamehole Con. Why would I rant? What would I rant about at Gamehole Con, man? Tell me, please, Gadget Cat. What should I what should I rant about there? Bacon, Amanda the Panda. How about bacon? You don't rant about bacon. You like pine over bacon. We'd never rant over bacon. Oh my goodness. Where's the full camera? There we go. Full camera mode going on. All right. Brittany likes this time better. Well, I think we're gonna have to do it this time every single week now for Brittany, right? Am I right? Actually, I was literally thinking about maybe doing it more often at this time on Thursdays, because my wife and I, confession time, we have a major gambling problem, We just like going to casinos. I like to play craps. My wife likes to play slot machines. We usually lose about $20 for, I don't know, 4 hours of entertainment. That's better than going to a movie. So anyway, yeah, we like to go to casinos. It's our thing. It's our thing. And I'll bet on dice. Stupid dice. Sometimes I actually win $100 or something. Woo! I'm like, I can lose $100 or I can win $100. It's like, whatever. Anyway, I was actually, but Thursdays is one of the days that we sometimes like to go to the casino. So I was actually like, if I did it, literally the reason I'm doing it right now, early in the day, this is 12 noon for me, is that we're literally, as soon as this live stream is over, my wife and I we're going to escape to the nearest casino and relax and get away from all of our cats that want to murder us in our sleep. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. All right. Okay, so we got a giveaway going on today. We're going to draw the winner to the giveaway, $50 Deal Store credit at the end of the live stream. You just got to be present to win. If you're not present at the end of the live stream, you get screwed. You get the shafted. You don't actually have any chance to win at all. So you got to make sure you're here, right? So like you could leave now and then just come back in the last 15 minutes, unless I draw the winner midstream just to throw you off for trying to cheat the system. I should actually do something like that. That would be totally sleazeballish. I'm not that bad, am I? Yeah, I probably am. Anyway, we'll do the live stream giveaway winner drawing sometime during the live stream. And you have to be here to win. Otherwise, you don't win. You don't have an opportunity. And I literally have my Nightbot will keep track of my winners and stuff. Active chatters, and I'll do the call of shame. Active chatters are the ones that are eligible, not moderators. I feel like, I don't know, maybe should I include moderators? What do you guys think? Actually, you know what? I very frequently don't have any moderators that show up for my live streams. So I feel like I should include the moderators as a possibility for winning, because that's only fair. Like, especially Tashio, like he's here. I don't see, are there any other moderators here? I think we should put the moderators in the giveaway. It's only fair. Because this dude's like, I'm here every time, Luke, when I'm not in bed. And I should be eligible. All right. Moderators are now eligible for giveaways. And all right. Then chat announcement, unique win. That looks good. Okay. There we go. Now I can see all of my active people and the inactive people. Beautiful. All right. I think we're ready for the giveaway then. It's only fair to include them until they win. Yeah. Adam, the D&D guy, is already gaming the system. Oh, just staying active. Actually, that just somebody typing in staying active or something like that probably is not bad for the algorithm. It's telling YouTube that people are engaged. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just doing Q&A today, so you can throw your questions in the chat. I'm a little ramped up today. I feel like I've been smoking something or sniffing something that I shouldn't have been, which is totally not true because I've never done any of that stuff in my life. But I'm a little excited today for some reason. Probably have no idea. I literally just recorded a video for next Tuesday, and I don't know. I'm all amped up, baby. All right, and then what are we doing? Oh yeah, Q&A. So leave your questions, and then all right. I have two things I want to talk about. I'm gonna. These are my shameless plugs. I'm gonna pound on these the entire stream because I'm a jerk like that, and you all are my captive audience. All right. See, I told you I'm like all amped up today. All right. Let's go to this thing right here. Okay. This is a cool Kickstarter, guys. Go check this out. There's a link down in the description. There's a link in the pinned comment where you can go look at this. What this is basically going to give you, and they're not paying me, by the way. I just found this crap and well, actually this dude reached out to me. He's like, Luke, check this out. And I went to look at this thing, and this is the exact sort of thing that I wish I had for D&D about 5 to 8 to 9 years ago. I don't know. Math is not my thing. But basically, what this gives you are, instead of having a monster manual that you have to flip through different pages and find the stuff that the monsters that you want, and probably have like sticky notes as bookmarks. So if you're running a combat with like 3 monsters, you can flip from page to page to page throughout the entire freaking combat. So stinking annoying. Is this gives you cards that have the monster stats on the actual cards and pictures of the monsters as well. So this, I literally, back when I first started running D&D 5th edition, I literally print, and I made these myself on index cards. I can go get you the I think I can find them for you. I literally made my own, it was a 3x5 or 4x6. I think I made them 4x6 cards where I had the monster stat block on one side and a picture of the monster on the other. You know, I'm completely illegal the way I did it, so I can't really do anything with them. But it was just for my own personal use. And I literally spent hours and hours and hours making these things myself for my own games. And now, and I literally, when I started running Pathfinder 2, I immediately bought all of the Pathfinder 2 ones for these monster cards. And so now we have here monster cards for D&D 5th edition 2024. That's what it says here. It's for 2024. So basically, the way this works is you have monster cards. Is there a big image for this sucker? There we go. So on one side, you have high-level stats for a monster here. Hit points, you know, all their scores and stuff. You got a picture and crap. And then on the back side, it gives you like all the information about the monster. Okay, these are beautiful, especially if you are running a battle that has 2 to 3 different monster types. Having these set in front, and this is why I literally made my own back in the day, because having 3 of these set in front of you is way easier than flipping back and forth in a stupid book, you know, trying to run these combats and stuff. And everybody knows that D&D combats are way more interesting when you have at least 2 different monster types. 3 is probably makes for even better combats, right? In my opinion. So anyway, you can go here and get some of these bad boys. There's a whole bunch of these different decks. I think they're offering 6 of these different decks. They're called the Deck of Holding. And then they have, I mean, there's a bunch of information here. You can read it and crap, you know. Basically, they have stretch goals. It'll add more monsters to it and all that kind of stuff. But go check this out. This is really cool. If you're running D&D 2024, this can be super helpful. Actually, they sent me like a, they sent me a sample. I should probably show people the sample that they sent me. All right, so I mean, they've got the production all figured out, right? They have people to print the crap for them. And these are all the cards here with the monsters artwork. And you know, you can see it's legit. It actually exists. I'm holding it in my hands. Unless this entire live stream is AI, which you wouldn't know. Actually, in a couple of years, you will not know. Probably less than a couple of years, you'll have no clue. Luke will still exist. I'll get younger every year, and I'll still be live streaming, baby. Oh, anyway, they're real cards. They're really cool. These are, what are these? These are like 3x5s. Hold on a second. 1, 2, something like that. It's about 3x5 or something. I don't know. I have a ruler in my drawer next to me, but I'm not going to get it out for you. I've talked enough about this. You all are probably ready for me to answer questions now, which I'm not going to do because I want to tell you about, see, I have my sticky notes. This tells me the things I'm supposed to remember to tell you about during the live stream because I'm old and my memory sucks. All right. I have started up a couple new games that I am running for folks. I'm running a D&D 5th edition game, 2014 version. I'm running the Ghosts of Salt Marsh module, and I'm going to sprinkle in adventures from Tales from the Yawning Portal. That game is going to be on Start Playing. It is every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So and I'm making this every Friday so that we can actually get stuff done. I'm excited. I have all these modules on my shelf back there that I've never run. And so now I've been telling my wife for a while, I'm like, I want to run these modules, and now I'm doing it. So we're going to crack through Ghosts of Salt Marsh. We're going to crack through Tales from the Yawning Portal every Friday. So there's a link down in the description where you can look at my Start Playing Game Master page. And at the very bottom, actually, I'm on a computer. I can show you what this looks like. So you go to my Start Playing Game Master page, just link down below. And then you go all the way to the bottom here. And this will show you my 2 open games that I have. And this is deceptive, by the way, too, because this one here, The Adventures in Salt Marsh, says it needs 3 people to start. I've actually already had at least 2 people that I need. 2 out of the total that I need have already sent in their applications, and I just have to like review things and accept or whatnot. And then this one right here, I've had at least 1 person apply. We only have 1 seat left, and at least 1 person has already applied. So if you're interested in jumping in on any of these, then you should definitely, click the request to join button and then apply. like right now, because I literally, like, I'm way behind on my emails, but as soon as I get back to catching my emails, I've been working. This week has been my like work a lot on Feybound week. I've been writing and project managing stuff for Feybound to get this Kickstarter kicking. So I'm behind on my email, but once I get to reviewing my emails, I will be accepting the players that are going to be in the game, and then we're gonna rock and roll. So this one right here, so this is self-explanatory. It's D&D, right? We're gonna play some D&D. This right here, this playtest right here, this is for No Quarter. This is the game system that I am currently designing. My team and I are currently designing this game system right here. It's called No Quarter. It's stinking awesome because, well, look, if I didn't think it was awesome, like, I wouldn't be designing it, or I'd make something different. Anyway, I like it a lot. It's a gritty, super fast combat. It's a D100 based. It's a percentile based game. And it is not class based. It is skill based. It is not based on classes. You do not pick your class. You pick the skills you want to have in the game. So it's super versatile. So you can build the character exactly how you want it. So anyway, this is like a play. I'm calling it a play test, but, and then I mean, we're gonna keep making changes because right now we haven't even released the alpha. We have the alpha rules ready. We're literally right now writing. Zach is writing them out. We're getting them into like a publishable format, because at the beginning of 2026, we're going to send out the alpha to my patrons, and then they're all going to have the alpha with adventures to go along with them, so that they can start playing the game, playing No Quarter for themselves. But in the meantime, I'm going to be playtesting it with some folks so that we can, validate it and make changes and all this kind of crap. And this is like, this sort of playtesting is the sort of thing that will last for years. Who knows, right? As you're developing a new game system and you're playing it and you're iteratively playing it, you're iteratively playtesting it, making changes, playtesting, right? You don't just send out like, playtest packets to solicit, comments and then never do iterative design. That's absolutely silly. That's not how you design a game. But so anyway, this is what we're doing. If you're interested in that, go. I've talked enough about this stupid stuff. Let's go to questions, shall we? All right. Ask your questions, and then we'll see what we can do here. Where is the Q&A sheet? There we go. Tashu, are you manning the Q&A sheet? Where I am, October 23rd. There we go. I have found it. I couldn't find it. It was on a different tab. I was on the wrong tab. Oh. All right. This question comes from, do I have names? Leanne Thomas asks, how to build back confidence when a player trying to be helpful gives you negative feedback every week. He's also somewhat main charactering and herds the other players. Must I cater? No, you don't have to cater to him. This is not necessarily related to your question, but I hate's a strong word. I despise, that's really strong. I loathe. These are all really strong words. I don't think it's quite capturing how I really feel. Players who herd other players. Like the player who is like suggesting that we should all go do this thing, or especially during combat, the players who are like, you really should do this because this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? The players who essentially want to run other players' characters, I don't like that. It's like, let them play the game, dude. Shut your pie hole. You have your own character. Let them play the game, man. I'm not all about that. In fact, I probably have come down on players like that before because I immediately see that sort of thing happening and I don't like it. And I want the other players to play their own character and feel comfortable making their own decisions and not get second guessed by some wing rod at the table who like thinks he knows better than everybody else. And it's always a guy. It's always a guy who thinks he knows better than everybody else at these games. Sorry, guys. We have big heads. What can I say? So anyway, I would not tolerate that one bit. How do you build back confidence? Dude, I don't know how you can build back confidence. I just don't. All I know is that when a player gives negative feedback, that is always from their perspective. It's always what they think, right? And they may or may not be correct. They might be totally wrong. I think every time somebody gives you feedback, you need to analyze that feedback. Just because they gave you negative feedback and they weren't happy about something doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that you should take any action whatsoever. I do think it's always good to analyze it and think about it and see, hey, is there any validity to this? Should I do this thing? Would this make the game better? Could I improve? So I think analyzing negative feedback or even positive feedback is always really good and can be beneficial for you to grow and get better, and I think that's probably the first step. And it might just, and I feel like if you were to do that, you'd probably find that some of their feedback is totally groundless and would not improve the game for anybody except for them, probably, and maybe in a way that would make it worse for other people too, because you don't want to just, if somebody gives you feedback, it's because they didn't like a thing, right? But you're not just thinking about them and catering to them, right? You want to think about the rest of the players you have in your group. You want to think about you as the game master as well. And so if somebody gives you negative feedback, you have to say, well, they want this or they don't like this. But how would that affect, or what do the other players possibly think about that? How would that affect me? You know what I mean? And you have to weigh those things and consider those things. And I think that is a thought process and exercise that you should go through when somebody gives you certain amounts of feedback. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you start analyzing this, you're going to find that one of two things, a couple things are going to happen. First of all, some of their feedback, you're going to be like, nah, throw it out. I'm not doing that. You just throw it out. And you're going to be like, yeah, because it's not going to make the game better for anybody except for them, maybe. It's going to make the game worse for the rest of us, so I throw it out. Therefore, you are then in your mind, you're mentalizing, this idea that feedback has no grounds and is worthless. Okay, cool, get rid of that one. And then the next piece of feedback they give you, well, maybe that piece of feedback you think about it, and you're like, yeah, that's probably pretty good. I think doing that or stop doing that, whatever thing they're criticizing, might actually make the game better. Well, then guess what? If you start implementing that, your game gets better, right? In theory, of course, and then guess what? Your game gets better. People like that and your confidence grows. So I think I'm like getting to the answer to your question amazingly. I think going through this exercise is going to help you build your confidence because you're going to realize some of their feedback is trash and you throw it out and then you don't sweat it. And then some of their feedback is good and legitimate and you implement it and your game gets better and you get more confident as a game master. So I think that probably if you try that approach, that's going to be helpful for you. All right, answered. Get your butt out of here, you big baby. All right, next. Kitty. Yeah, the kitty has joined us. I caught a bad case of DM burnout for running stuff I don't enjoy, and then stop running stuff you don't enjoy. I haven't finished the question yet. Who's this question from? I should read the name. Gadget Cat. All right. I always want to call you Gadget Cat. I don't know why. I'm letting my players have a chance to DM, but now I have 3 players fighting to DM, and I kind of also want to DM again. I don't know what you want me to say here, buddy. You have a good problem in a way. Well, first of all, don't run stuff you don't enjoy. That's the first thing. And you may have figured that out already, right? Like there's a reason that I'm transitioning my current Pathfinder 2 group away from Pathfinder 2 to something else, a different game system, because I've run Pathfinder 2 for a year and a half now, roughly. And I'm just not like into it anymore. It's like, yeah, we've played it. It's okay, but it's way too crunchy for me. It's just not my thing, Lots of people love it, and that's great. But I've just discovered that I like rules light systems a little bit more, and I like systems that have faster combat. And when it takes you an hour for a trivial combat, that this is not the game for you. I mean, for me personally, at least, So yeah, I'm trying to avoid running stuff that I don't like, and running things that I'm excited about, and things that I like, because then I won't get burned out. In theory, and you're letting your players have a chance to DM, but now I have 3 players fighting to DM, and I want to DM again. I don't have a solution for you, buddy. If everybody wants to be the game master, you are in nirvana, man. This is like a special, beautiful place for you, you know, because most of the time nobody wants to game master, and like somebody gets stuck with it, you know, and everybody else is just like, I didn't have to do it, you know. Take turns or something, you know, take turns for like mini campaigns. Like everybody gets to run a campaign that lasts 3 months or half a year or something. I don't know. If you guys meet every week, like, okay, so actually here's an idea. One of my moderators told me this is what his groups did, and I thought it was amazing. It was an amazing idea. This is what they did. They had multiple people that were game masters as well. So this is what they did. Now, this may or may not work for you, but he told me this story and I was like, that's pretty cool. So there were 4 game masters in the group, okay? And basically they played every week. So let's just say it was Saturday. So every Saturday they played for 12 hours. All right. That's the first crazy part. I think it was 12 hours. It might have been 8 hours. But anyway, it was a big block of time. For the first half of the Saturday, one of the game masters ran their campaign. And then in the second half of the same Saturday, a second game master ran their campaign. And then in the next Saturday, a third game master ran their campaign for the first half, and then a fourth game master ran their campaign for the second half. And so they literally, every single Saturday, they were running 2 different campaigns, one for the first half, one for the second half. Next Saturday, 2 different campaigns, one for the first half, one for the second half. Met every single week, and 4 game masters were running their ongoing campaigns, right? And so everybody got to be a player, and those that wanted to be a game master got to be a game master. So this may or may not work for you, right? But that's a thought. Maybe that's your solution. Oh yeah. I'm gonna grouch that up. Grouch that up, baby. Woo! All right, next question. Yeah, that was from Meepy. Meepy is the name of my moderator who told me about that. And if you have the time and you have that many game masters who want to play, whoo, you could have the time of your life doing something like that. Get your big butt out of actually, yeah, your butt's kind of small. It's really your belly that's huge. All right. Next question is, and remember, drop your questions in the chat. Try to do a hashtag question in all caps. And then I got my man Tashio here is putting all your questions into a spreadsheet so that I don't miss anything. Next question is from Real Ghost Stories. I recently encountered a DM giving 2 initiatives to the big boss. I've done worse. I've done worse. You should see the initiative system that we have for our game system, No Quarter. We called it the Cornered Rats Initiative System. Oh, baby. If your big boss having 2 turns in the initiative order bothers you, then our Cornered Rats initiative system is really going to throw you for one. The rest of the question says, I've been stuck on if I should use this against my players. Have you done this in your games? I do tons of stuff against my players, right? But remember, your job as a game master is to create challenges. Your job is to create problems. Right? That's what your job is, right? And then your players are the heroes. They're trying to overcome them. Everything you do as a game master is creating a roadblock. It's creating a problem. It's creating a situation that needs to be resolved. Everything you do, right? And so, sure, a combat comes along where I whistled with my sure. A combat comes along where the big bad has like 5 initiatives in the turn, and the players are like, wait, are these legendary actions? No, he literally has a new turn. And their minds are blown and they all crap their pants, right? And you're all like, okay, we gotta beat this. Like, that could be amazing, tons of fun, create a challenge. And it would throw them for a loop. They'd be totally unexpected, something they'd never seen before, right? They settle in for a surround and pound beatdown, and all of a sudden your big bad gets 5 turns in the same five turns in the same round. Holy crap. Yes, those are the types of ideas that can be really cool. Now, it's probably something you use, unless you have an entire initiative system built around this concept, and it's like a homebrew initiative system. This is the type of thing you probably do for a one-off. Every so often, you throw something totally new in that blows their minds, and they have an entirely new challenge that they have to overcome in the game, and that can be tons of fun. Yeah, and so we use these terms like if I should use it against my players, but that's your entire job as a game master. You're not playing against them. That's not what I'm saying. But your job is to create challenges, to create predicaments, to create nasty situations that they have to fight to overcome, right? And that's literally your job. That's what you do, right? And if you don't do that, then what the heck are you doing as a game master, right? So, yeah, I would use that. Job sounds awful, like too much responsibility. Oh yeah, it's horrible. Everybody has a job. If you don't work, you shouldn't eat. That's my thought. Unless you have like your legs are all busted up and there's nothing you can do. I don't know. There are obviously exceptions, but everybody should have a job, and everybody should have responsibility in their lives too. The person with no responsibility, that's a sad life, dude. My goodness. And what are you doing in this world if you have no responsibility? Sorry, those aren't D&D topics. What if you're a kid? Well, then your responsibility is to figure out a way that you can survive in this world by making money when you're older, so you can pay your bills and crap and not depend on like your parents or the government or something. That's your responsibility, to prepare yourself for life, whatever that means. Whether that means school or a trade school, skip college. Definitely skip college. It's a scam. But figure out how you're going to make money in the world, dude. And don't go into debt, man. Okay, your responsibility as a kid is to realize that going into tons of debt before you, it's going to set you so far behind in life. Bad idea. Debt is the slaughter, is the destroyer of dreams. Again, not D&D content. Amanda the Panda says, my players are in an underwater adventure with Cloak of the Manta Rays, so breathing is not an issue. Then there's no point in being underwater. You basically have a game where you can fly. You've given them the ability to fly, because now you have a 3D adventure. They can swim around, they can breathe underwater. They might as well be flying above surface. I'm not quite criticizing the concept. I'm just stating it is what it is. But I want to increase the stakes. You've already taken all the stakes away. I think the ship's already sailed, hasn't it? I think the Cloak of the Manta Ray gives them a swim speed, so they already can swim at normal speeds, and I think it allows them to breathe underwater. It sounds like they can breathe underwater as well. So everything that makes an underwater adventure more challenging, being difficult terrain because you have to swim and you don't have a swim speed, navigating in combat when everything is difficult terrain and the other enemies can move twice as fast as you can, that's a big deal. That's huge. We've already taken that away. So that challenge in the adventure is gone. Having to figure out how to breathe underwater, whether it's like little bubbles or I don't know, whatever you want to figure out. Well, okay, that's gone. Now, to be fair, there's low-level spells that will allow you to breathe underwater for, I think, 24 hours, which groups eventually have access to, or you can get scrolls or something like that. So, there are other ways to mitigate that kind of thing. But all I'm getting at is like the things that are already inherently challenging about an underwater adventure have already been mitigated by these cloaks. So somehow they have 4 to 5 Cloaks of the Manta Ray. And a Cloak of the Manta Ray is what? Probably a rare item. Does anybody know offhand? What is they're high level. Level 14. Yeah, okay, they're level 14. So like at level 14 and now my entire trajectory of my answer is being changed because now I know they're level 14. That's an important point. So they're level 14. It doesn't matter what you do at level 14. They're going to figure out a way. They're going to have access to water breathing. They can probably have underwater movement stuff. They got these Cloaks of the Manta Ray because D&D 5th edition is just built so that you can just buy things like that, and it trivializes the game. It's just part of the way things work. Raw, I suppose. So level 14, everything's going to be pretty trivial for them to begin with, right? Whether even if they had a game above in the air where they had to fly and stuff, groups at that level are going to have access to flying as well. So yeah, everything becomes trivial at higher levels like that. So now we go back to the question. You want to increase the stakes? Jeez, I don't know. I feel like the whole idea of it being underwater and having breathing and swimming speeds is completely immaterial at this point, because essentially what we're talking about is this question has now turned into, how do I increase the stakes for a high level adventuring group? That's what we're talking about now, right? Because the fact that they're underwater and have these cloaks means very little, you know what I mean? Because they're high level. No matter where they are, you need to increase stakes somehow, because everything's going to be trivial for them, right? But here's some thoughts for you. Here's a deviously wicked idea that I just thought of. Anti-magic zones. Those cloaks don't work anymore, baby. Nothing you got works. Taking the cloaks away somehow, like not in a super nefarious way, but enemies that are literally trying to rip the cloaks off their back. Because at level 14, they're fighting high level, powerful creatures who are probably wise or intelligent enough to know that these landwalkers shouldn't be able to just swim around like this and breathe normally. Magic must be involved. They're all wearing these same cloaks. They all look the same. They start ripping the cloaks off or something. I don't know. You have to, if you got to get a little spicy, a little devious, you know, don't just take the cloaks away, right? But you got to like have the enemy start grabbing at them and trying to pull them off or something, you know. Anti-magic zones might be spiced throughout the place, you know, where their magic just doesn't work. None of their magic works. If you really want to increase the stakes and stuff, you got to start thinking like that. And this is not specific to how you would approach this problem, you know, if you were not underwater. Like at high level games, like you have to think like this in a way for almost everything that you do. How can you increase the stakes, whether you're underwater or not? Because at high level, the characters have so much power and access to magic items and all this. Even without magic items, characters are powerful at those levels, right? And so you have to figure out other crazy, wacky things that you can do to make things more challenging for them, unless you're just going to throw more powerful enemies at them, you know, which is always an option, obviously, you know. So anyway, there's some ideas for you. I don't know. That probably doesn't help you very much. I'm sorry. There's like my 5-minute answer to be like, yeah, that didn't help at all. All right, let's see. Let's go to this. Where is this? All right, guys, don't forget to go check out the Deck of Holding. If you're looking for some D&D 5th edition monster reference cards, I highly recommend you take a look at this. This Kickstarter right here, it gives you a whole bunch of monster cards where it has all of the stats and stuff on them, like all of their ability scores. It has their traits, their actions, legendary actions, all of this stuff, front and back cards. I have a samples right here that they sent me over. They're really cool looking, well designed, in my opinion. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So if you're like, one of the reasons I love cards like this is that instead of having to flip through monster manuals and stuff, and from page to page to page, when you have multiple creatures in a combat, you just have the cards picked out and laid before you on the table, and it makes running a combat way easier. So these ones are designed for D&D 2024, if that's the version that you're running. I am mostly trying to stick with 2014 myself as much as I can. But if that's the version you're running, 2024, then you're probably gonna find these really useful. And I have the samples right here, and they're really well done, pretty darn high quality and stuff. So definitely recommend you take a peek at these if you think this might be useful in your games. And then we also have, what else is my handy dandy thing say? Oh yes. Also don't forget that, go back to the screen, Luke. I'm also running a couple games for you guys if you want to join. I'm running Adventures in Salt Marsh. These are all on Start Playing. There's a link down in the description or the pinned comment for you. Adventures in Salt Marsh. I'm going to be running the Ghosts of Salt Marsh module, and I'm going to sprinkle in adventures from Tales from the Yawning Portal as well. So we're going to be doing both of these things. There's still some slots open, but I'm pretty sure I have enough applicants to fill the game completely at this point. But still feel free to submit your application, because I have to like review and accept things, you know. You don't automatically get in. I have to review it and make sure that, then I pick the people that get into the game. So you can still send in and sign up. At some point here, in probably the next day or two, I'm going to be finalizing everybody that's in the game. I'm also running a playtest of my new game system, No Quarter. It's going to be releasing this January to my patrons. So if you want to playtest the game system I'm designing, then we have one seat still remaining. Now I know that I have at least one applicant for this. So if you're interested, you need to sign up ASAP so that you can be considered. And we'll be playtesting No Quarter. It's a D100 roll under system. It is skill based. It is not class based. It's pretty cool. I do say so myself. I'm obviously biased. So anyway, go check that crap out if you're interested. No Quarter for arcade machine. All right. Let's see. Where are my questions? This question is from Gadget Cat. I told you, I'm just gonna call you Gadget Cat from now on. I'm sorry, dude. I can't do the Gadget. It's got to be Gadget. It's just I'm weird. One of my 3 friends wants to DM. I think would love a rules light system for any genre. Any system suggestions? Oh gosh. Well, when you said rules light, I immediately was like Shadow Dark, but Shadow Dark is very specific to like a medieval fantasy type game. The next system that came to my mind was GURPS, a generic universal role playing system, but I have never played it. I don't have the books, but I have heard that GURPS is extremely rules heavy. So I don't think that would be the right way to go. I honestly, the problem with, if it needs to be compatible with any genre, the issue with that is like if you have a class-based system, where you're like a wizard or a warrior or something, then it's automatically pigeonholes you into a certain genre. So you almost need, and maybe people in the chat have suggestions for this that know more about TTRPG in general. You almost need a rules light system that is skill-based instead of class-based. That's really what you kind of need. And ideally, because if you had, like, for instance, if you had our No Quarter system is rules light and it is skill-based. So I could, with some alterations to our core rules, I could run theoretically a sci-fi game with our rule system. I'd have to make some tweaks here and there, instead of melee weapons might be hand-to-hand combat and ranged weapons might be some sort of like gun or something, so I can make some tweaks to that and probably repurpose it fairly easily for like a sci-fi game. But if I had a class-based system like D&D or something, repurposing that for a sci-fi game or a horror game or whatever type of genre is probably not going to work so well. So I think what you're really looking for is you want the rules light, obviously, but a skill-based system is probably going to be more versatile for you. And then if you have to tweak some things, get it to work, I think it'll be easier for you. But anyway, people in chat might have some suggestions for game systems that you might check out. Peter Rubin says, Salt Marsh, can we watch it? No, I'm not. None of my games that I'm doing are recorded public games for people. Like these games that I'm going to be running that I've been telling you guys about, this Adventures in Salt Marsh, and then my playtest here, these are not going to be publicly viewable games. These are private games for just the players. Okay. I probably should be clear about that, because some people, there are a whole bunch of people who are like, I don't want to be on camera. I definitely don't want people to be watching me and what if I screw up or something? So like, I totally get that. So no, my games, these games that I run are not public games in so much that you're not being recorded and I'm not putting on YouTube and crap. It's all private games. They're all private games, So no, you can't watch them. Sorry, buddy. You see, I'm not trying to put on a show for viewers. I'm trying to run a game for the actual players. So my primary focus is on the players' enjoyment of the game. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to put on a show so that I can entertain viewers, then I would, make them public and probably try to recruit people that are charismatic and can do talky stuff a lot and all that kind of stuff. The same type of stuff, that all these D&D shows that you watch, also they do. Would Savage Worlds work? It's skill based. I have played Savage Worlds once. I just don't know. I don't know where Savage Worlds ranks on rules light to rules heavy. Something tells me Savage Worlds is somewhere in the middle, because I have the books literally on my shelf over there. It's probably toward the middle, but somebody else might have an idea better than I do. Let's see. Let's get this one right here. Evan Bashnaw says, can you describe a bit of the percentile dice theory for your new game system? Yeah, let's do this. Let me pull up. All right, I need this out of my way. I'm going to pull up some high-tech software here as I describe to you how this works. All right, so, okay. So basically you roll a D100. That's the basic idea, okay? You roll a D100. The base, we're just talking base numbers. You have to get a 60 or below to hit. That's where the base starts out. Now you can get skills that will make that number higher. You know, you might increase that to get a 70 or below. You might make that so that it's an 80 or below, right? And so you roll on a D100 and you want to roll under. So if your number is 60 or below, you need to roll a 60 or under in order to hit the creature. Okay, so that's basically the idea of how a percentile system works. So you're rolling a D100 or two D10s. Most people roll two D10s, and that's basically how it works. That's the idea of how the percentile system works for D100 roll unders. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Once you've done it, you're like, oh yeah, this is easy. And obviously, there's more details about this. I don't know that folks necessarily want me to go into super details on that, but that's the basic idea of how that works. All right. This is another one related to no quarter, so I might as well hit it. Thorandir says, Luke, do you have an outline or very rough timeline on the progression of no quarter development that you are willing to share? Yeah, I can tell you. I don't really give a flying crap. Some people want to like guard their secrets and stuff, and I just don't care. I'll get this out of here. So the basic idea is that for no quarter, so the basic release, the release dates or whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, is January in 2026. We're sending out the alpha to patrons. So I have a Patreon. All of our patrons will get the alpha. All right. We're also going to start this is the alpha rules to patrons, but also in January 2026, we're also going to be starting to publish No Quarter magazine. And this is getting complicated. No Quarter magazine. Now, No Quarter magazine is going to have adventures. It'll have adventures that you can run, right, for your game. So we're giving you the alpha rules and we're giving you adventures you can run. Ta-da! Because you kind of need both. A rules system without adventures to run doesn't help a lot of people. I mean, obviously there are some people that have no problem with that, but there are a lot of people that are like, give me adventures. So we're giving you adventures. Obviously it's going to have monsters, right? So No Quarter magazine will have adventures and monsters for you to immediately start running. The January issue, and so then we'll talk. So this is all going to start coming out next year. Every single month there will be a new issue. So let's just write that down. Every month, new issue, which means new adventures and monsters. Let's make this a little bit smaller. I'm running out of room here. All right. And then, so basically the basic idea is that I'm going to use level terminology, but levels don't exist exactly in No Quarter. They kind of do and they kind of don't. Because this is a skill-based system, talking in terms of levels, of character levels, isn't completely accurate because that's not kind of how our system works. But I'm gonna, hey, shut up. She's just down here crying for some reason. Killer Kitty, you're not wrong. So basically the basic idea is in January, we're going to have level 1 content. Well, I shouldn't say content. I should say adventures and monsters, right? And then February is level 2, so on and so forth. Okay. Basically every single month, the content will be geared for higher level characters. That's the basic idea. Okay, and this is just all, I'm using terminology that, you know, folks from D&D will understand, but it doesn't exactly work this way. All right, because it's skill based, it's not quite the same. All right. Goliath Cleric is like, no, I've been waiting for Luke to start talking about it more. I know, we got to start telling people. I actually need to start talking about that in my videos. That's a really good. You're getting February written today? Yeah, baby. I love that crap, man. So Goliath Cleric's writing our content. He's got January written and now he's working on February. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And then tomorrow at our meeting, we're playing through another adventure, right? Because Zach and I have been playtesting our game system, obviously. Okay, so this is kind of how this works here. And so we have adventures coming out with monsters. Every month you get new issues. Now, this No Quarter magazine, what we're going to be doing for you is you're going to be getting, we're going to do this. This is both for No Quarter and D&D 5e. So we're still going to be giving you the adventures and monsters and stuff for D&D 5th edition as well, because some people are going to be like, yeah, I don't care about No Quarter, I like D&D, and that's fine. So we're going to be giving you, No Quarter magazine is going to have all of our adventures also available for D&D 5th edition, because I totally realize that some people want to play D&D 5th edition, and I love that, you know, and so we'll keep on giving you stuff, right? But we're also going to have everything for No Quarter as well. But the basic idea here is that what we want to do is, so at the beginning of the year, we start giving you, the alpha comes out, and then we start giving you every single month, you get more monsters, more adventures that you can run with your players. Because now what we want to do is we want to have iterative development. Iterative development. What this means is that, you know, you get the alpha and you playtest and you give us feedback. All right. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make changes. We make changes and send them out to everyone. Right? So you're going to get the alpha, you're going to get these adventures and monsters, you guys are going to start playing, right? And you're going to be like, hey, this sucks, or hey, this could be better, or hey, this doesn't work, or hey, we love this, whatever you have to say. I fully anticipate that there's going to be lots of problems with the alpha, and we're going to have a lot of work to do. That's the way I think game development works, right? The first thing that comes out is probably trash, and then you got to iteratively work on it and make it better. 100% expect that to be the case. All right, so you get the alpha, you playtest, you give us feedback, we make changes to them with everyone. Now, I expect what we're kind of planning on doing is every quarter, that's every 3 months, we will send out an updated alpha. Now, this could either be, it might feel more like an errata or something, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think what we're literally going to do is the alpha document itself. We are literally going to just make changes to the rules in the alpha document, and we'll like, you know, do the standard incrementation. So if like you got No Quarter 0.01, right? The next release would be version 0.02, you know? If we have a major update, we might call it version 0.10 or something. You know, this is kind of how software development works, you know, when they have, you know, when they're releasing different versions. So we'll probably do something like this, you know, and then these will go out every time we do an update to the alpha. DM Lair patrons will get the updates, right? If you're a DM Lair patron, you're going to get all the alphas, you're going to get all of No Quarter magazines, whatever, blah. And then I have to make changes to my Patreon, obviously, to kind of like lay this out for everyone, but this is going to be happening in January 2026. So this is coming to patrons, right? And then I anticipate this development cycle continues throughout 2026. All right. So we're going to spend a solid year on this development cycle. Okay. Giving us a beta. At that point, I feel like after a year of having people and everybody playtesting and making iterative developments, I feel like at that point, we have this narrowed down enough that we can call it a beta, right? And so then we have a beta. So then what we have is in 2027, we have the beta. Yay! All right, so now next step. We've thought about this. Next step. Ooh, we're running out of space. Should probably move this over a little bit. Okay, now we're talking about the no quarter Kickstarter. Whee! All right, so in 2027, probably April, we do the Kickstarter. And the Kickstarter will give you a printed book. Right? That's the whole idea. We do the Kickstarter. Now, the Kickstarter, the printed book will come in probably 2028 or so, but as part of that Kickstarter, we'll give all backers the beta immediately. Right? And then playtesting will continue in 2027 as we refine the game system. Right? Playtesting, everybody gets the beta, right? We've already spent a year refining it. Now the Kickstarter comes, we give you the beta, right? It will be the PDF. This will obviously be a PDF. We're not printing it, right? We'll give you the beta PDF immediately, and then we continue playtesting. We continue refining the game system. Okay. And then the final system, fully play tested and developed, prints and goes out to backers. Whee! Okay. And here's the thing too. Here's the beautiful part of this. Here's the beautiful part of the master plan. Sometimes you back these new game system Kickstarters and all they give you are the rule sets, right? Like, here are the rules, and you're like, okay, great, but I don't have any adventures to play the game system with. The beautiful part of our development system that we've fleshed out here is because we've been publishing these no quarter magazines now for 2 years. At this point, it'll be 2 years, right? We can put all our adventures in the Kickstarter, right? So what you're probably going to get, this is where my memory gets fuzzy. I think we're probably going to have 3 books is what the plan would be. All right. You have the I don't know, this would be like the game system book. This would be no quarter rules. And then you're probably going to have a bestiary, right? Full of monsters. And then you're probably going to have an adventure compendium. And Zach, I think this is what we discussed. If I'm misremembering, let me know. Because this is way off in the future. So I think we probably lightly discussed this, but we haven't solidified our plans super completely. Adventure compendium has tons, I should probably not say that, has tons of adventures. So that's the basic idea. Yeah, okay, cool. It sounds about right. High level. This is high level concept. Obviously, there's like 2+ years before, or 1 year or something. I don't know. We got a little bit of time before we're going to actually be implementing everything in super detail here. But high level planning, this is more or less what the plan is for getting no quarter out there. And what I like about this is this guarantees an iterative development cycle that will help us refine the rule set so that what we give folks will be very nice and very well fleshed out and defined, right? It's not going to be rushed along, and so you're not going to get some flaming pile of crap. I don't like flaming piles of crap. People put them in plastic bags on my porch all the time, and it gets really old. So we're not going to do that. That's not cool. And it's going to give you everything you need to run the game. You have the game system book with the rules, you have monsters. These 2 things will allow you to homebrew stuff all you want. And then we have an adventure compendium so that people who don't want to homebrew their own adventures, they can just play the ones that we've already created. And you're ready to rock and roll. So that is at a high, I should probably save this actually somewhere. Let's put it in my downloads. No quarter planning, because this is actually this is probably a useful exercise for me, for notes for us to have for our game. All right, so that's answering that question. I think high level development process right here. All right, let's see more questions. I'm seeing more questions in the chat, but I want to go to this sheet. Gadget Cast says, what's the appeal of live streamed D&D games? I don't know. I don't watch them. I find them to be very boring. But there's some people that like watching them. So, everybody has different tastes. So you'd have to ask people that like watching them what the appeal is, because I do have some of my games that I put up on my second channel, the DM Lair Plays, and people watch them. So everybody likes something different in this world, Killer Kitty says, I may have missed it, but what will be the next system your Pathfinder 2 group will play to stream? Well, we've discussed that a little bit, and that's the group that plays at this table behind me right here in my house. And we had discussed playing Call of Cthulhu. I have all the books, and I have adventure modules, compendiums, and stuff, and I was getting ready to run Call of Cthulhu for them. And then now I'm developing my own game system, and so then I was at a couple game sessions ago, I was telling them, I'm like, we might just start playtesting my game system, No Quarter, and there's a very strong possibility that's what we're going to do. We're probably going to start playtesting No Quarter, and then you're going to be able to then you'll be able to watch us play No Quarter, which you might find interesting. Because I know I'm going to be running the playtest on Start Playing for No Quarter. I know Zach and I are playtesting, and I know that we're going to have people will start playtesting also once the alpha comes out. But there is a lot of value of playtesting in person also. And the people I play with are my friends, right? And so they're going to be brutally honest with me. If they don't like it, and they have lots of experience. At least 3 of the guys that I can think of offhand have way more experience playing TTRPGs than I do and running different systems. Right, I've been a lot of just D&D for much of my life. Only over the last maybe 5 years have I started to branch out. But some of these guys have run dozens, if not, they've run a lot of different TTRPG systems. They're my friends. They're going to be able to give me brutal, honest feedback, and they have lots of experience with other game systems. And so I think there's going to be a lot of value in us playtesting in person right here. And the playtest will look a lot different than a campaign that I might be running too, because we will literally have specific playtest scenarios and objectives, and we'll do things like, okay, guys, for the next game session, I want you to all create characters that break the game somehow. Try to break the game. For the next game session, let's try doing this or that or the other. So you can like test border cases, and intentionally try to do things, So I think there's gonna be a lot of value in that. So there's the probability of us running No Quarter for our next, after we get done with Pathfinder 2 back here, is probably 99%. That's probably what it's gonna end up being. So yeah, and the more I go over the reasons why it would be a good idea right now, the more I'm like, yeah, we definitely should do that. That makes sense. Peter Rubin says, what are the advantages of a roll under system? So let me tell you a little secret. Let me tell you a secret. Percentile system. Right here, where I said, at base or whatever, you have to roll 60 or under to hit, right? We have the base number right there. You have a 60% chance of hitting a creature, period, end of story. It's right there. It's literally, it's like at the very first level of the game system, at the very first level of the mechanics, you know exactly what you're trying to hit. Okay, now, to explain why that's beneficial, let's go to D&D 5th edition. D&D 5th edition was designed so that on average, players have a 60% chance to hit monsters. That's how it was designed. It's somewhere around 60%. I don't know. I think it was Mike Merles, I think might have been doing an interview or talking or some, maybe I'm misremembering, but it was basically the information was released or people they maybe backwards engineered or whatever, but the base system of D&D 5th edition, you have like a 60% chance or so chance of hitting monsters. And the reason it's about 60 is that the game developers were like, well, people like hitting more than they like missing. And so we're going to have them hit more often than they miss, right? And we'll just give the monsters more hit points or whatever to make up for it. But people want to feel like they're getting that incremental success toward defeating a monster, right? And so they have armor class, and then they have to hit modifiers and all these different modifiers and stuff. So that base percentage chance of 60% is obfuscated, right? It's hidden, right? They have to do a lot of math in there and build all these calculations to get to that 60% on average, right? Well, I can just skew all of that stuff and just say, hey, percentile system, 60 or below to hit. It's as easy as that. I literally am setting the base without doing all these complex calculations and figuring and balancing all this kind of horse crappery, right? I just tell you, hey, it's 60% to hit. Boom, there it is, baby. You know, so that is the advantage of a roll under system, in my opinion. That's one of the main advantages, is that it just makes everything a lot easier for game designers, for players, right? Yeah, so that's my opinion on that. Glad Cleric says it also lets us bypass having a million moving parts with every roll. Exactly. All the complex mathematics and mechanics you have to put into there, which keeps it streamlined for development and playtesting. Yes. Yes. One of the hallmarks of our game system is how streamlined it is. It is super streamlined and super simple. So that is one of the things that excites me. But it is, there are lots of player options that allow you to build a very unique character, which I think is really cool about it too. You know, so we have like the best of all. We're like, we have this, like, you know, the perfect cake where we can eat the cake and our dinner too type of thing. That's what we're trying to go for, you know. Who knows, you know, maybe we'll have a bit of success with that. That's our goal, at least. Lisa Keisling is still active. Congratulations. Yeah, because we're going to have a giveaway at the end of the live stream, and you have to be present to win. Do you think about... hold on a second. Is this in our sheet? I'm trying to make sure I go by the sheet and check things off so that I don't miss anything. Waldy says, do you think about setting for your new game system? I don't care. I don't give a flying crap about setting, my personal opinion. And I'll tell you why I don't care about game settings, like world settings, you know, like Eberron, Forgotten Realms, that sort of thing. I don't care about that. I don't want to develop that. I have no interest in creating that sort of thing. And I'll tell you why. Most game masters already have their preferred setting, and most game settings can easily be shifted. Like if I'm running Forgotten Realms, I can easily run a Forgotten Realms game using Pathfinder 2. In fact, my Pathfinder 2 game is currently set in the Eberron game world. I'm using Eberron, which was designed for D&D 5th edition, and I'm playing Pathfinder 2 in it. So like there are so many game worlds out there to choose from. Like you can take No Quarter and you can plug it into any game world. The game world of your choice, the game world that you like the most, right? You can also, you plug it into your homebrew game world. There are so many game masters that run homebrew game settings, right? Their own homebrew worlds. Take No Quarters and plug it in. I feel like creating a new campaign setting, a new game world for No Quarter is like the least, like the most inefficient and bad use of our time. There are so many other things that we could produce that would be of massive value to game masters, and creating a custom homebrew game world for No Quarter to go in would be an absolute waste of time, in my opinion, because most people would not use it at all, right? And the effort involved in creating a really good game world with just the right amount of details and information to help a game master, but not too much that they become bogged down and can't take it all. Like, it's so much effort. It's so difficult. And then coming up with a unique unique idea and then having unique, cool crap throughout the whole thing. Like, oh my gosh, holy crap. It's like the level, it's like on that, there's like a chart of effort, you know, like the cost to like the return, you know, and there's such a high cost to that, and the return is so dismally low that it's like, no way am I gonna create our own game system, or not game system, campaign world, campaign setting or whatever. No way, man. I'm like, I play Pathfinder 2, right? And Golarion, or I think that's what they call it, is like in the book, and I don't give a flying crap about it because like I already have a campaign setting that I like, you know. For either Forgotten Realms or Eberron. Those are my two go-to campaign settings that I like, you know, and I'm going to run my games in one of those two, you know. And so like, if I'm going to play Pathfinder 2, I'm going to run it in one of those, you know. If I started playing Savage Worlds, I'm going to run it in one of those, you know, or I might do a homebrew game setting of my own, but I'm not going to like go learn somebody else's pre-published. Anyway, I could rant on this, you know. Anyway, it's low value, high effort. We're not going to do that. It's a good question. I get excited. I hope you don't feel like I was biting your head off, because that was not my intention. Where's my coffee, man? Oh, baby. Oh, speaking of homebrew worlds, here's a question for you. Brittany says, I'm trying to homebrew my first world, but I keep getting too bogged down in the details. I'm trying really hard not to. Oh my word. Where is the... I can't. Oh, I'm trying really hard not to. Tips. Okay. I think it's important to consider what your objective is. Why are you homebrewing your first world, right? What's your goal in homebrewing it? If your goal is just to have a place for players to play the game, right, then all you need to have are some very high level details about the world in general, and then the specific area that they're in the world, flesh out more details for that, but still keep it at medium level, and then improvise a bunch of stuff. If your purpose is because you enjoy it and you have fun doing it and you love it, then who gives a flying crap about how bogged down in details you are? If you're having fun fleshing out every single NPC on the street of that town, right, that your players may never go to, and you don't give a flying crap, and you're just doing it for the sheer enjoyment of creating that thing, then it doesn't matter if you're getting bogged down in details. It doesn't really matter. Just do the thing that you like. Have enough there that you can actually run the game for your players, obviously. But if you're just creating because you like to create, then you make the rules. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, you set your objectives and you make the rules to a large extent. And so I don't think I would worry too much about the way to not get bogged down in details is to stop creating so many details. I don't know how else to put it. You know, just stop. Stop creating so many details, especially details you don't need. Unless you want to because you enjoy it, then do it. You know, I feel like this is probably a very unhelpful answer, but you have freedom, you know, and I wouldn't feel, if you are putting a lot of details in there, I wouldn't feel bad about that unless there's a reason to feel bad, right? And then just stop putting so many details. You know, it's like, how do I stop hitting myself? Stop hitting yourself, dude. I don't know. Completely unhelpful answer, I bet. Oh, this is awesome. What is the least favorite setting you have played in? Oh, this is Chad asks. This is a simple one. Probably somebody's homebrew setting. Yeah, I guess. But you know, to be perfectly honest with you, the settings almost never matter in a game. This is the other thing. From a player's perspective, at least from me as a player perspective, and from many of my players, nobody gives a flying crap about the game setting. Like, most players, I have a strong feeling, I can speak for myself for sure, right? And I've been a game master for a while, and I've seen players and talked to players and crap, whatever. I have a feeling that the majority of players really care about two things. Their characters, they love their characters. They love developing their characters. They love gaining new abilities, new spells, new equipment, and becoming powerful and gaining levels, and then, I'm awesome, right? They love developing their characters. They also love the adventures, the cool things you do on the adventures. What's the plot? Who are the enemies? What's the challenge? What's the situation? How are we going to win? How are we going to overcome this? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Right? Like, these are things that players love and think about a lot. And I really feel like, now there are some players that are going to love the campaign setting and they're going to love the lore. That is going to be a thing. But I feel like those players are far fewer than the ones that mostly care about either their characters or the adventures or both. And then the campaign setting for the majority of players is a backdrop. It's something that's there that they occasionally notice, but you know, you kind of are just like, yeah, whatever. It's a fantasy world. Okay, great. You know what I mean? Every so often there's something interesting that will be like, ooh, but most of the time it's like, yeah, whatever. So I feel like there are a lot of players that mostly just kind of don't worry about that. And then there are some that really love campaign settings. They love lore. Absolutely. Right. But the majority of players, and this is my personal feelings, my thoughts, experience, they mostly care about their characters and they mostly care about the adventures. And the campaign setting just kind of fades in the background most of the time. So, I think I answered the question. I don't even know what question I was on, but we're done with that. This is why I tell game masters a lot that spending a bunch of time on your own campaign setting, your own homebrew setting, is not the most effective use of your time, right? Make sure you have your adventures tight first, right? And then worry about your campaign setting. Right? So now, if you just love doing it for the sake of building your homebrew campaign setting, then ignore me. Do the thing that you love doing. It's your hobby. It's your game. It's your fun. You do you, right? But if you're just looking at efficiency because you're strapped for time, then first focus on your adventures. And then as an afterthought, worry about the campaign setting because that's going to get you most bang for your buck as far as being able to and being ready to run a game for your players. And this question is from Olga. Hello, Olga. How do I convince my players to try new systems? You don't have to convince them. You're the game master. You're going to run the game system that you're going to run. And if they don't want to play, I guess they can leave and then you can find new players. It's really easy to find new players. Game masters are in high demand and there are a few of us, so we wield all the power. I'm kind of tongue-in-cheeking that, but it's true. I am tired of D&D and want to try something new. Pathfinder, Call of COK, I think is Call of Cthulhu. Something or other. VTM, I don't know what that is. But they insist to keep D&D but add homebrew because reading rulebooks is difficult. Screw them. Dude, you're the game master. If you're tired of running this stupid game system, stop. Okay, so like this is what I would do, I suppose. This is what I would do, right? I'm running a Pathfinder 2 game right now. And I literally told my players a couple months ago, guys, 2-3 months ago, guys, I'm tired of running Pathfinder 2. I'm over it. I'm ready for something new. We're going to be changing, you know? I was probably a little softer with it. I was probably like, hey, would you guys be interested in doing something different? Would that be cool? So I'm like, you know, I'm not just going to be like, I am the law. I'm not like that. That's not my personality in person. You know, I'm way more laid back and chill in person than I am on my videos, I think. So, and I just told them, hey, I'm over with Pathfinder 2. I'm done. I don't want to play it anymore. I want to do something different. And they're all like, okay, cool. And so now we're going to do something different, you know? But I feel like, I feel like if I were totally done, this is Luke, right? Your situation is your situation. But if I were totally over Pathfinder 2 and I didn't want to play anymore, and my players were all like, no, we really like it, we want to keep on playing it, there's a strong possibility that I would just be like, okay, I mean, which one of you is going to run it then? You know? And I may or may not be in that game. I might just piece out of there, you know? Or I might just say, well, okay, you guys might want to keep on running that, but I'm not going to be running Pathfinder 2 anymore. I'm going to be running a different game system. Here are some options. Now, I'm willing to discuss which one you guys prefer the most. And if ultimately you don't want to stay in the game because you have your heart set on running a certain game system, that's okay. No hard feelings. You're welcome to go find another group that will play the game, that is playing the game system that you want to play. Respect, right? Everybody's got to do their own thing. But I am over this game system. I'm done. I'm burnt out. I want to try something new. So I am trying something new. If you want to stick around, yay, I love you guys. And we can all figure out what game system we're going to play, but it's not going to be D&D in your case, or it's not going to be Pathfinder 2, or it's not going to be whatever. It's going to be something different. And if you want to peace out and find a different game, 100% respect that decision. That's totally cool. But I, as a game master, am not running this game system anymore. I'm done. I'm moving on, right? And so, we will sort this out. And this is probably what's going to happen. When it comes down to brass tacks, right? Some of your players are going to leave. Some of the players will stick around, right? And then you just recruit more players, baby. Find more players. Find different players. If you're playing in person, it's a little more challenging to find new players, sure. But if you're playing online, you can find new players in like a couple days, yo. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But that's kind of what I think that's what I would do. I'm not going to keep on running a game system that I'm not interested in running. I'm just not. Why would I? This is my own personal time and my fun time, right? And I'm going to run a game system I'm not having fun doing, or I'm bored of, or I'm burnt out on. No, screw that crap. You know what I mean? And if I lose some players over it, like, we could still be friends and stuff, but like, you know, I'm not running that game system, dude. And I'm not going to be strong armed by a bunch of players to do something I don't like, man. I'm not doing it. In the same way that I would respect their decision to leave the gaming group, because I don't want to force them to play a game system they don't want to play. So it's like, you know, the respect goes both ways, but at the end of the day, you kind of got to do what you need to do for yourself, you know? And again, you're the game master. You have all the power, you know, so you can find more players if you need to. My suspicion is some of them will stick around, and then you'll have some leave, and you just have to deal with it. You know, you got to sort that crap out. Magnus Agma says, if reading a few paragraphs from a book is too much for someone, then it kind of shows what kind of players they are. Yeah, it kind of does. Kind of does. All right, let's go back. Tashio, I really appreciate you putting all these things into that sheet. That is crazy helpful, man. Mad respect, buddy. What rules do you use for ship-to-ship combat? I don't. Sorry. I currently plan to use Iron Kingdom's 5e rules for it. Just wondering if you had anything for this type of combat. We have published some nautical rule system. We have a rules light nautical rule system that we've published on the DM Lair. The DM, I'm gonna see if I can find it for you. Google search the DM Lair nautical rules. I'm probably Google can find it for me. How to run a nautical campaign. This has probably got my... I found it. Google found it for me. So, Maritime and Madness, Lair Magazine number 24, has inside of it our lightweight ship and naval combat rule set. Okay? Lightweight, I think it's probably like... Zach helped write it. I think, no. Zach, did you design... I'm pretty sure Zach designed this rule system. It's not that long. It's like under a dozen pages or something. It's really lightweight, so you can learn it really quickly, and then use it in your game. And I mean, I'm not necessarily saying get this. All I'm saying is that if ship combat is not going to happen a whole lot in your game, then you want a rules light game system. for ship combat. You don't want something that's like 100 pages long that none of your players are going to read and that you have to explain to them every single time you get into a fight with ships. Okay. Oh, we have it for Layers and Legends 2 that makes it a lot better. So you can also get this. Let's go find that. So this is on our site. Hardcover books, Layers and Legends 2. So we also have, if you want a physical copy, Layers and Legends 2. This is going to be in Loot and Lore. This is going to have it has a bunch of game systems in it, but one of them is the nautical rules set here. Yeah, naval rules right here. And we expanded it and we revised it. So it's for running ship-to-ship combat during your nautical sessions. So you can go over to thedamlayer.com, look for Layers and Legends 2, and then you click the button and you can get the books right here. And I'm pretty sure we have like a 10% off discount going right now. So you can get both of these books for not too bad of a price, baby. And these are big boy books too. These are big fat books. So anyway, you can get the rules over there too if you care. But what was the actual question again? So if I were going to use rules for ship-to-ship combat, I would probably use my own rules. That's probably what I would use, but I would avoid using rules for ship-to-ship combat anyway. Like it makes the game more complex. Like if I were going to be if I were running a nautical campaign and sailing and ship-to-ship combat was going to be happening a lot, then it would be worth my time and my players' time to learn a rule set to handle that. But if that's not going to be happening a lot in my campaign, then I'm mostly going to resort to narrative structure for ship-to-ship combat, or a skill challenge for ship-to-ship combat. I'm going to use existing systems that I have in place to resolve that instead of implementing a new game system and new mechanics that we all have to learn. That's if it happens occasionally. If it's going to happen a lot, then I'm probably going to try to find a rules-light system to implement. Now, you had mentioned Iron Kingdom's 5e rules, and let's see. I've never heard of that. Iron Kingdom's 5e nautical rules. 5e nautical adventure rule. Google's not helping me find this very easily. So I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about it. If it's rules light and it works, then rock and roll, baby. That's my opinion. Vilu says, we had 3 ship combat that was a blast. A pain to be a game master for, but a blast. One ship surprised the smaller 2 ships by crashing right to them from a thick mist. Oh, that's cool. That's fun. This question is from Vilu. They say, any hints or words of encouragement on how to handle a situation with problem players I have to drop from a 3-year-long campaign while continuing with the rest? I mean, what are you going to do? Like, it sounds like you're already at the point where you're booting them, you're removing them, right? And I'm assuming that you've already tried talking with them, right? With whatever issues are going on, and explain to them why it's an issue and what problem is being caused by their behavior. And you've asked them to change so that the game will be better for everybody. And I'm assuming that conversation has happened perhaps multiple times, and they're just not having it. And they continue doing the same things that are making the game worse for everybody. So I'm making some assumptions here. But if you're at the point where you're kicking them, then I'm assuming those things have already happened, right? And things are still not good and there's still problems. And so now you're at the point of where I'm going to kick them out. And so the only encouragement I can tell you is that I don't know that there is a game master alive that hasn't had to kick players out, unless they're an absolute coward or they have crazy luck. I have had to, how many players have I kicked out of my games? Two players, I think I've kicked out of my games. Three. So 2 were official removals, where like I literally told them, you're not coming back, goodbye. The third one, he saw the writing on, he was like about to get kicked out, and he saw the writing on the wall, and he bowed out before I actually kicked him out, so that he could probably claim that I broke up with you, you didn't break up with me, sort of thing, whatever. So, but he knew he was getting kicked out. So 3, I would say, players I've removed from my games over the years, which isn't a whole lot, I suppose. I've been running games for a while, but 3 players have gotten kicked out for their behaviors. And so it happens to everybody. Everybody has to kick some players out from time to time. And all I can tell you is that when you listen, dude, when you have problem players, and you've tried resolving the issue, you've tried talking to them, the single best thing you can do is to kick them out of your game. Because let me tell you, your next game session without those bad players will be your best game session ever. This has happened to me multiple times, because everybody, if they're causing a problem for you as the game master for the group, your other players feel it too. They're also suffering. The game is being made worse for them. So that next game session, when they're not there, everybody is just going to be relieved. They're going to be thankful that person is gone, and you're probably going to have your best game session ever. Not necessarily because of the content or what happened in the game session, but just because the atmosphere is improved. The group dynamics are improved. And whatever issue or problems that person was causing are no longer there. It's like, have you ever stepped on a caltrop or had some horrible pain in your body? It affects everything you do. Who's wrenched their back before, right? Back pain, right? Where your back's messed up. It is just, your entire life is affected by it, right? And it's nasty and bad, right? But when that pain is gone, everything in the world is better. And it's like the night and day relief and happiness. It's crazy, so kicking a player out of your group is a similar thing. When that constant pain that you've tolerated for so long is finally gone, it's like euphoria, dude. You're going to love it, man. Trust me. So if you're at the point where you got to kick them and it's got to be done and the game's going to be better, don't hesitate. Get them the crap out of there. And then things are going to be better. You're all going to have more fun. So I wouldn't sweat it, and I wouldn't feel bad. Everybody's got to do it eventually. Vilu says the difficult thing is that we share the same friend circle. Be prepared to lose friends. Be prepared to lose friends. It's probably going to happen. Just be prepared for it. It doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing, but a friend who can't remain a friend if you remove them out of your game for crappy behavior after you've tried talking to them, they're probably not a friend that you wanted to have anyway. Come on, think about it, dude. This person has been ruining your game. Their behavior is so bad in your game, or people's, I suppose. Their behavior is so bad in your game that you've had to talk to them probably multiple times, asking them to change, right? And they still refuse to do it, and they don't care that they're causing everybody else problems. They just don't care enough to change, right? And then you finally kick them out of the game. And if at that point they're like, "Screw you, I hate you," did you really want that person as a friend to begin with? Get better friends, man. Get better friends. If that's the way it rolls, then they're doing you a favor, man. And then other people in that friend group who side with them and their biased story that they're almost assuredly going to tell them, and they're like, "You kicked him out, you're a bad person." Well, then guess what? You can lose some of those friends too. Don't worry about losing friends. Holy crap, there's billions of people in the world last I checked, and there are tons of people out there that might become your friends. And guess what? You probably can find better ones. If people are going to be sleazeballs and gossip and just ditch you because you're trying to make your group better, and they're going to hold it against you, and they're going to lie to their other friends, and those friends are going to believe their word without even getting your side of the story, and then they're going to exile you from the friend group, you can get better friends, man. Who needs that drama? Screw them, man. Jeez. All right. What do you like better? Theater of the mind or maps and terrain? 90%, 99% of the time, maps and terrain I like better. Occasionally, theater of the mind I like doing. Usually theater of the mind happens when I'm running a game online and I don't have a map prepared, which can happen, right? And then I'm just like, hey, we're doing theater of the mind for this combat. Or I might use universal dungeon terrain. I've done that a few times too when I don't have a map, because like it's, dude, online games, if you don't have a map ready, it's like, what are you going to do? You're just going to. Do you have a favorite game system at the moment, or one you see your players getting the most into? Right now, I'm really liking Shadow Dark a lot. I love Shadow Dark. This is from Joseph Crichton. What's up, dude? I love Shadow Dark a lot. I also, I'm really excited to start running my Ghosts of Saltmarsh campaign. So I haven't talked about this in a second, but I'm starting to run this Adventures in Saltmarsh campaign. I'm taking Ghosts of Saltmarsh, the module, and I'm going to be running it with Tales from the Yawning Portal sprinkled in as well. And so I'm really excited to start doing this. This is going to be cool. This is obviously D&D 5th edition, you know. I'm excited for that. And then I'm going to be doing this no quarter playtest of our new game system. So these are things that I'm excited about. And it's, I don't know, dude. It's like and I'm also currently running a Shadow Dark game as well. And I'm running a Pathfinder 2 game. And I don't know, like what's my favorite game system? Your favorite game system is going to be heavily influenced by the players you have in those groups. You know, like if I think about my Pathfinder 2 game, like at this point, I'm not super excited about Pathfinder 2, but my players are amazing, you know, and some of them like Pathfinder 2. So like, okay, I can run this game system for you because my players like it, you know, and I like being with my players and I can have lots of fun, even if I don't necessarily am super enthusiastic about the game system, you know. Shadow Dark, I love the game system, but my players are also amazing for my Shadow Dark game system. Those are like some of the best players I've ever had. Like the energy and the excitement in my Shadow Dark group is just like off the charts. We have so much fun. And is that because the Shadow Dark? No, not necessarily. A lot of that is just the players are awesome. You know, never underestimate how much more fun you can have when you have really awesome players in the game. It is understated how much a difference players make in the fun of a game. Everybody's always like, oh, the game master's amazing. Oh, the game master, oh, or the game system, or the module. Everybody's like all of these things. And yeah, sure, having a good game master makes a big difference. And if you have a bad game master, wow, the whole game can suck no matter what you do, right? But nobody talks enough about how much of a difference having good players makes in a game. Makes a huge difference. So anyway, that's a tangent. And then I'm excited for my, so I don't know. Gosh, man, you're asking me like what my favorite game system is. If you'd asked me like a couple months ago, I would have probably been like Shadow Dark. And now it's like, now I'm getting excited about other things, you know? Cause I don't think you gotta have a favorite. I think you can just kind of like, you know, you can just, I was gonna use a bad word. You can just sleep around a little bit, you know, and it's okay. Do you ever remind, this question is from Theos Primus. Do you ever remind your players of items they acquired a long time ago that would be useful to them in a specific situation, even if they have it in their notes? Yes, with a caveat. If they acquired an item a long time ago, the chances of me remembering they have it is almost 0%. Would I remind them? Maybe. Assuming I remember that they had it, would I remind them? Only if they were in dire straits. I like presenting my players with challenges, and I like the game to be challenging for my players, and I want them to sweat a little bit, but I don't really want them to fail. I want them to win. I want them to succeed. I just want them to have to work for it, right? I feel like that's kind of what I'm supposed to do as a game master. Like, so you gotta earn your W's, right? But I don't want you to lose. And so if my players are in a really crappy situation, yeah, I'm probably going to try to slip in little things that might help them. And if one of those things is a magic item or something that they have that I happen to remember that might be helpful, I'm going to tell them, you know, because like I want my players to win at the end of the day. I don't want them to all die or something, and I don't want them to be discouraged and not have fun, you know. But that said, I have presided over many TPKs that have been enjoyable, and the groups have enjoyed the TPKs and had a lot of fun when we came back with new characters too. So I'm not saying TPKs aren't necessarily fun, but if you have way too many of them, that can be a downer. But every so often, having a TPK is fine. And for what it's worth, I never prevent TPKs or I prevent character death. I don't step in and save their bacon, right? I might drop little hints or tiny things that might help them a little bit. But if at the end of the day, the dice and the situation demands death, then it demands death. You know, and you move on. That's when you're playing a game where you're fighting monsters and you're swinging swords and throwing fireballs. If death is not on the table, what the heck are you doing here? You know, what's the point? What's the point of playing? Oh. All right, what do we got going on here? Adam the D&D guy says, what do I do about new players who refuse to read the rules because at first glance they saw the size of the player's handbook and thought there was too many things to read? I don't know. It depends on... The answer to this is specific to your personal situation. Like, you might not give a flying crap. You know? Like if I were running a game, I ran a game for kids for years. And I think I had like two of them, the two boys in that group, they read their books. And one of them was a fanatic, dude. This guy was hardcore. He read that book. He had some memorized. Man, this guy knew more about the rules probably than I did. All right. And this is a kid. He's like 12 years old or some crap. And then the other kid, he knew the rules too, man. Both these boys, they knew the rules, baby. They knew what was going on. They were reading the books, you know. And then one of them was running games too. He was running games at his middle school and high school when he got to that age. And the two girls, though, I don't think they read the rules. I'm pretty sure they didn't read the rules. I don't even know if they had the book. I don't know. They may have, may not have, but they didn't read the rules or not. But you know what? I didn't really care. Because my goal was just to run D&D for some kids and they can have fun, play the game and stuff, you know. And so I didn't really care that they didn't read the rules, you know. So it didn't bother me. Now, different group, totally different. Like I had a group that I was running. It was some of the players were casual, some of them were not casual at all. They were very hardcore, very into it. And there was one of the players that we played. I ran that game for probably over a year, and she still didn't know how to run her thief, her rogue. She had no idea what the mechanics were or anything, and we constantly had to help her, you know. And sure, I was frustrated at times, and sure, the thought came through my mind, you know, you could put forth a little effort here, okay. But I didn't really care because I was running a casual game. And I knew that some of these players were casual and they weren't going to read the rules. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Is it annoying sometimes? Okay, sure. But whatever. I'm just going to like subvert that annoyance and just, you know, run a game. And she's just not going to know the rules. Now, that said, some of my games are pay to play games, right? And these players are they're paying a lot of money to play D&D with me. And I want to run a really good game for them, right? And I know that when you have a player who doesn't know the rules and they're slowing the game down and bogging the game down, that can negatively affect everybody's experience at the game table, right? If it causes a problem. Now, not knowing the rules super well doesn't always cause a problem, but sometimes it does. And if it's causing a problem and they're paying to play with me and it's negatively affecting the table, well, then I'm going to have a problem with that. Because now it's no longer just like they don't know the rules. It's now they're negatively impacting others' game experience. And now I have a problem, right? Because like people are paying to play in this game. And, you know, I need to make sure that the opportunity for fun exists and that there isn't one player who's bogging everything down, right? And that's true. It could be not knowing the rules. It could be causing other types of problems. It doesn't really matter. So I feel like how you address this and what your response is going to be different based upon the group and the situation, right? Like, you might not care if they don't know the rules, or you might really care if it's causing a problem for the game. Now, what I would tell you, though, that maybe is actually actionable advice is if they look at the size of the player's handbook and are like, nope, not reading it, then get a different game system. Throw D&D out the freaking door and get Shadow Dark, right? And give them the quick start guide that's like probably 10 pages long or something. They can read the character information that they need is on one page. A small page like that, everything they need. And the actual rules for the game are probably like 5 pages long. It's nothing. So if your players are looking at the player handbook and being like, oh, then pick a different game system that doesn't have so many stupid rules that you don't really need anyway, right? Run Shadow Dark or something rules light like that. You know, and then they have no excuse. And even if they don't read the rules are so simple, they're going to learn them in the first game session. And it's going to be like, oh, that was easy. And then you got nothing to sweat. So that is a tried and true solution for players who won't read the rules. Pick a different game system where the rules aren't so stinking long. This is one of the reasons I think that it is unfortunate that D&D is an entry point to the hobby for people, because D&D is not a rules light game. I don't even think I would consider it to be rules medium. D&D is probably at least solidly in between rules medium and rules heavy. And you could make an argument, and people have made an argument to me, that D&D is a rules heavy game. Not as rules heavy as some other games, but they've still said it's a rules heavy game, you know? And like, when you have brand new players have no idea what they're doing, no idea what a TTRPG even is, and have no idea what role playing is, and you give them a big book with a bunch of rules, and they're just like, right? So like, having D&D as an entry point is unfortunate, because if you had a rules light system as an entry point to the hobby, I feel like that is much more approachable for a lot of people, and it's a lower barrier to entry, and it increases the probability that they're going to play the game, like the game, and not just bounce off the hobby because it's too complex, right? So I think it is unfortunate that D&D is as popular as it is for that reason, right? And I know there are probably tons of people that are like, I'd love to play D&D, but the rules are too complex. And they're just like, whatever, peace out, baby. I love this question. Dordiub says, how often and how do you use ChatGPT for brainstorming or adventure writing? I made an entire video on that topic. You can go watch it. And people freaked out. They lost their minds. They totally lost their minds. They're just like, they just like cracked their head open, pulled their brain out and threw it on the cement and squashed it. Their minds were blown, right? It was gone. So go watch that video, read the comments and stuff. I think I've lost like, I don't know how many subscribers I've lost from that video, because people are just like, AI, burn in the bad place, you turd. How dare you even open that on your computer? I don't know, whatever. So anyway, apparently the oceans are boiling away and stuff, and it's just unconscionable. Whatever. They're missing the train, baby. So anyway, I've lost lots of subscribers over that video right there. I get a kick out of it. At this point in my YouTube journey, I don't give a flying crap anymore. I'm like, screw that. You guys have all got your head in the sand, baby. Your head is in the sand, and the world is going in a direction, and you're trying to deny it. And the world's going there, baby, and you're not stopping it. Nobody's stopping it. It's going there. So either figure out how to incorporate that into your life, or the world's going to pass you by, and you're going to be left in the dust, and you're going to wonder what the crap happened. So anyway, but some people live their lives that way. And then they're shocked. And then they're shocked when they're screwed. I slept on that, and now I'm screwed. Cooper 9D6, I am AI. You are looking at AI. This is AI Luke right here. How do you possibly think that I'm as old as I am, but look as young as I look. How do you think that works? It's not makeup, I can tell you that. Dordiub says, do you know that your RPG system you're working on sounds a lot like Trevor Duvall's Broken Empires, the guy from Me, Myself, and I've met Trevor. I've met him at conventions. That guy's pretty cool. I like him. He's a cool guy. I don't watch his channel though. I've never really watched his channel. But in person, really cool guy. It's also D100 and skill based. Yeah, I don't know anything about his game system. So if they're similar, then we stole it. That's coincidence. What's your favorite kind of D&D dragons? The ones that present a challenge for players and are fun in combat. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, hey, super chat. Wee. Wait a second. Have I gotten other super chats that I ignored? Something tells me. Oh, here we go. Killer Kitty. Thank you, Killer Kitty, for the $5. I think it's called a sticker. She gave me a $5 sticker. Thank you, Killer Kitty. That's awesome. Killer Kitty's like in all my live streams. It's amazing. Thank you, Killer Kitty. All right. Here's a super chat from Zagard. Thank you, buddy, for the super chat. I appreciate that. 2 questions. Running a deadly D20 fight versus a wyvern at level 1. Okay. So that's the premise. Am I a bad DM if half or more die permanently? Define bad DM. How can I nudge survivors to craft weapons or armor from its corpse? You just... Once the dust settles and the corpses are cooling, you're like, by the way, Timmy, you've heard that wyverns are renowned for the usefulness of their, body parts for different things, such as the stinger. There's a gland in the stinger or near the stinger that can be harvested for poison. And the chitinous plates on the wyvern can be used for scale armor. You just tell them, dude. You outright tell them. You let them know that they have heard tales of it. Or if somebody has studied, like something like Arcana or Nature, if they're proficient in it, then you just say, hey, you know this. Like, don't beat around the bush with stuff like that. Like, if you want to, like, have them have like homebrew crafting be a thing in your game, then just let them know, hey, you've heard this. This can be done. And once they know it can be done, they might try it. And then they can start doing some crafting crap if that's what you're trying to go for right there. And it sounds like you are. Now, the first part of your question is a little bit different. Am I a bad DM if half or more die permanently? I'm not going to make a moral judgment on whether you're a bad DM or not, but I'm going to tell you this. Very rarely will I put an encounter in my game where I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the players don't stand a chance. Very rarely. Occasionally I will. And when I do, I usually will use different techniques to foreshadow that or let the players know. Usually it's through narrative description. And my players will know, oh, crap, whatever this thing is beyond our pay grade. I want my players to know when there's something crazy powerful, I want them to know that. Because I want them to have the element of choice, right? Like, we're pretty sure that this dragon is too powerful for us, but we're going to fight it anyway. And if we die, we die, right? Like, so I'm going to give my players that choice, but I want them to choose. Generally speaking, there is an assumption when you're running these games that if there is a thing before you, an encounter, monsters, etc., that it is beatable. That's a general assumption that we have, and there's nothing wrong with that assumption, right? The game can become absolutely unplayable if we don't have that assumption, because players are going to be so timid, so combat averse, they're going to run away, and they might not even go on the adventure because they're like, well, I think we're all going to die. Let's just not go here. Like, literally, you guys, crap you not, man. If we don't have this assumption that most things in the game are beatable, the game falls apart, it doesn't work, and it becomes unplayable. This is one of those basic assumptions, this like meta knowledge that I fully encourage, right? So when something is not beatable, I think it is usually pretty wise and well played to let the players know that subtly, right? You don't want to outward tell them. That's not fun, right? But there needs to be things they could pick up on if they're paying attention to get the hint that this is going to be hard, and then they get to choose, right? And then if they choose to go do it anyway, well, then you run it as is, baby. And if they die, they die. But if I like bushwhack them with a CR 20 dragon at level 1, and they don't have a choice of whether to fight or not, and it just comes and starts breathing on them and eating them, that's just stupid at that point, right? And would I say you're a bad game master for doing that? Probably, you know, because nobody's having fun at that point, you know, and it's just pointless. It's a pointless exercise, you know. So a wyvern, I think, is a CR 5 creature, and they're level 1. The chances of them beating that are very bad, very bad. Would I pit a wyvern against a level 1 party? No, I wouldn't. Goblins, a handful of goblins can kill level 1 characters. They're so stinking squishy. They got nothing, dude. So I don't think that I would do that personally. All right. I think it's time to draw the winner of our giveaway. So you need to be active to get in on this. And I'm going to read off this is the list of shame for people that need to become active before I draw the winner. Otherwise you won't be chosen because you're not active. Doggy, what's going on, doggy? Come here, doggy. What's up, doggy? How you doing? The doggy's gonna help me draw the winner of the giveaway. Come on, doggy. What's up, doggy? Yeah. I think she's got to go outside. She hasn't been outside. Whoa, you're going to sneeze on me? You're going to sneeze twice on me? What is that? You got to go outside. 3 times. You going to do three sneezes? You're the best doggy in the world. I had an orientation last night for my local humane society. I'm going to start volunteering there, working with the cats and dogs and stuff. So last night was my orientation. I have to sign up for like shifts and stuff. So I like animals. All right, doggy. This dog right here came from the same humane society. We went in and saw her, and she's like big eyes, like, please get me out of here. We took her home same day. Yeah, big baby. All right. So this is the reading of shame. Escobar 33, Asani Lightbringer, Dordiub, Cognoscent, T2 the Money, Jacob Cobberholm, Dime Time, Killer Kitty, Erica Pereira. Sorry, I'm slaughtering names. AJ Silver Radio, Israel Morales, Choco Nug, Goliath Cleric, Wildcard, Cranky Smurf, Nathaniel Martin, Antiveros Viscara, Rachel F, Venture Agent Dariel, Language I Don't Speak, Freight Train, Mance, Real Ghost Stories, T-Dog, APRP, Thaurandir, Leanne Thomas, Gadget Cat, Tom Sawyer 77, and Brittany. You guys all need to come back into the window and become active because I'm drawing the giveaway. All right, I'll rough you up. All right. I know. Here we go. All right, there we go. Waldy A. You have won the giveaway, my good dude. So this is what you need to do, Waldy A. You need to send me an email at info@thedmlayer.com, and just say, yo, Luke, I won the giveaway. Give me my crap. You can quote me on that. It's funny. And then I will hook you up, dude. We're going to get you $50 DM Layer store credit. So there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dunzo. I'm going to leave now. You all have yourselves a wonderful Thursday. And I will see you in the next video, next live stream, or wherever. So thanks for hanging out, little doggy. Need to go to the bathroom. Yes, you do. Need to go to the bathroom. All right, we're gonna close that. And I gotta find my buttons. Push the buttons. We will end the stream. And yeah.